I said, we're going to go through this breakout session with some of our student voices. So the first one up, we've got our student staff member, Lucas Lilly, who participated on the Intensive Spanish Language and Culture program in Oviedo, Spain. So Lucas, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great.
Awesome. Yeah, so like Daniel said, my name is Lucas. I'm going to be a senior this year at the U. I'm studying Spanish teaching as well as history teaching. And I'm going to talk a little bit in a second about kind of how I got into this because it was highly impacted by learning abroad. But so first, just to kind of give you a little background on what a faculty-led program is, just so you can understand my program a little bit better. It's when you're taking U of U courses directly and gaining U of U credit. So it is always led by a U of U faculty member. So you're going to be taking classes with other U of U students. So yeah, it's really closely tied to our school and our department and everything. And just another characteristic about them is they can be like a little bit shorter term, and they always go during like summer break, fall break, spring break, things like that. But yeah, so I ended up choosing the intensive Spanish language program just because my biggest goal was to develop my Spanish language skills. It was something I did in high school, but at the time I was still kind of unsure about a major. So I thought it'd be fun to kind of develop those skills. And I knew I wanted to do something with history. So my other goal for taking this program was to just knock out like the language requirements for my history degree. So I ended up doing this program because it would take care of all of my, gen ed language requirements. And I ended up enjoying it so much and getting such good experience that I started a second major of Spanish teaching just because, I don't know, I guess the experience with the language and country was just phenomenal. So yeah, just getting into a little bit of some of the cool details about my program. For me, I stayed with a host family. It was just me and a host mom actually. And I actually found this to be probably the most beneficial part of the whole program towards developing my Spanish language skills, just because she didn't actually speak any English at all. So I was constantly just getting exposed to really intriguing conversations with her and just kind of being forced to, thrive with the language no matter how difficult it was. Just I had to communicate with her. I had to let her know what I was doing and stuff since I was living in her home. So yeah, it really just pushed my Spanish language skills and helped those develop. Yeah, for the Oviedo program, the classes I took were taught by teachers at the University of Oviedo. But that was also paired with classwork given to us by the U of U faculty member who was leading the program. And there were some other components that just included in-country experience as well with the program. So I know the majority of faculty-led programs also include some great excursions. So just some examples of some cool excursions I did while I was doing this program is the first weekend I was there, we went to the Picos de Europa, which is one of the highest peaks in Spain. And it was absolutely gorgeous. It was, we were the only ones up there. That was cool. We were also supposed to go rafting, so it rained and we missed that, which was kind of unfortunate because I was really looking forward to it. Another example is we went to León and we checked out the architecture. So yeah, pretty much every weekend we were doing something where we were leaving the city of Oviedo and going on some really great excursions. So I guess reflecting back, the only regret I would say I have is that I wasn't in Spain longer, just because I was shocked about the progress I made with my language skills in such a short time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got is, unless anyone has any specific questions for me, but we can also save those towards the end.
Yeah, that's great, Lucas. Thank you. Yeah, let's go through our all of you guys presenting about these, and then we'll come back for some questions. So the next student up is our student, Myra, who participated on the Kappa London Global Health Program. So Myra, if you want to chime in.
Yeah, hi everyone, welcome. So to talk a little bit about my experience with affiliate programs. So what an affiliate program is it's pretty much a partnership between the Learning Abroad office on campus with other Learning Abroad like companies. And so when you participate in an affiliate program, you will be receiving transfer credit. So that's an important thing to know. But I had a great experience. So I did my affiliate program with Kappa London. And when I started the like research process and trying to figure out what program was best for me, I looked into all types of programs, which I recommend for all the students to do, because I was able to find this program which ended up meeting a lot of the requirements that were important to me. So great thing about affiliate programs is that one of the things that I really appreciated was the kind of built in one program aspect that they have. And what I mean by that is I did the global health program with Kappa. And so all of the excursions that we did were included in the budget, but they were all related to global health and health systems in London, which was great. So for example, we visited central London's like medical school. We visited a bunch of other like medical museums that were really particular to London. So that was a great benefit with the program. Another thing with an affiliate program is that I took my classes at a study center, but all of my professors were professors who taught in London. So that was great because I felt like I was able to make a meaningful connection with professors across the globe that I wouldn't have had that chance to make if I did another like an affiliate program or a faculty-led program. One thing about the affiliate programs is that it's open to all universities and colleges. So I was the only University of Utah student in my program, which was very interesting and fun. At the beginning, I was really scared because I didn't know anybody, and these are all students I work from across the country, mostly from the East Coast. So I was really hesitant in making friends at the beginning, but it ended up being a great program because I was able to make friendships with students that go to schools in different states, and I've been able to keep that connection. But yeah, I would definitely recommend to look at affiliate programs because they also have a lot of scholarships that they provide that are specific to those affiliate programs. So that's how I was able to fund my learning abroad experience. So I definitely suggest keeping your options open in the programs that you're looking for and taking a look into affiliate programs because there are a lot of resources that they offer on top of the resources that are offered at learning abroad. But yeah.
Great. Thank you, Myra. All right, so we've heard from Lucas about his faculty-led program, Myra about her affiliate program. We're going to hear from another student, Julia, about another faculty-led program, specifically the Architecture, Design, and Planning in Tuscany program.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julia, as Daniel said, and I am a fourth-year architectural studies student. And what was really interesting about my experience, I went on the Architecture, Design, and Planning in Tuscany trip, which is a faculty-led program. But this program is a little bit special because it was half a semester long, so significantly longer than most of the other faculty-led programs, which was really amazing because I got to get very intimate with the community that I was living in. So I lived in Volterra, Italy, which is in the Tuscany region, about 2.5 hours southwest of Florence. And throughout the course of the semester, I took 5 different classes, a studio class, which was with the professor that studied abroad with us. And then we had 4 other courses, 2 taught by other faculty members from the University of Utah that happened to come out and visit us for a couple of weeks throughout the semester. And then 2 courses taught by a British lady that was part of the ownership for the building that we were staying at, the villa we stayed at to take classes and live in. A couple of interesting courses we got to take while we were abroad that maybe we wouldn't have gotten to take if we were in America was Italian history. That was really exciting because we also got to see a lot of the buildings that we were talking about and the buildings that we proceeded to learn about the next semester in architectural history. And then we also got to take an alabaster course. And so Volterra specifically is known for their alabaster working, and alabaster is like a smooth, softer version of marble. So we were given an 11-inch slab and allowed to do whatever we want with it. So that was pretty cool. We didn't just do, you know, our typical architecture design, making buildings and things like that. We actually got to experience, you know, the art culture in the community that we were living in. For our studio project, we got to each individually create a plan for a Montessori school in an old ruined site of where a church once stood. So that was also really intriguing and a good time to really get to know the people of the community and share our ideas with them for what we thought might be an effective way to accommodate the education of the youth in the area. Throughout the course of the semester, we were also able to go on some excursions as a class. So that was pretty fun. I got to go to Venice and see the Biennale, which is a huge exhibition where countries from all over the world will bring in just various projects that they're working on. We went to Siena, we saw Florence, and then we saw San Gimignano. That was another small town that we got to see. I also got to do plenty of my own traveling because we were very fortunate to only have to take classes 4 days a week while we were abroad. So on the weekends, a lot of us would go travel. I went to Zermatt, Switzerland for a weekend. That was really easy to drive to. It was about 6 hours. And then over fall break, I went to Paris and then the Vatican City. And coming into Europe and going out of Europe, I visited London. So I really did get to see a lot of the continent, you know, in the short time that I actually ended up being there. Yeah, I guess like it was really nice also being on this trip because there were only 13 other students. And they were all from the College of Architecture and Planning. They were all second-year students for the most part. And what's really great about this program is it wasn't just architecture. I was also surrounded by the skill sets and working strategies of the design and planning community as well. So it was really nice to be in a group that was so diverse and could approach the projects that we were doing in different ways. But yeah, all around it was a really cool program.
Great. Thank you, Julia. So we have a couple other program types that I'm going to talk about super briefly that we don't have students here to discuss. The first one is the Utah Asia campus. The University of Utah has a campus in Incheon, South Korea, and it is actually one of the few destinations where we are currently sending students because it is operating and open. And so this can be a great opportunity if students are looking to study to get general education requirements out of the way. Unlike the affiliate programs that Myra spoke about, this is direct University of Utah credit. Similar to faculty-led programs, there's no transfer credit you have to worry about, and so it can be great for students. There are a number of majors too that are represented, such as film and media arts, communication. There's an urban ecology degree that offers courses there. And so depending on what you're studying, this can be a really good opportunity. Another cool program that our office is working on developing is called the Global LEAP program. So you may have heard something about LEAP, which is a first year kind of living, learning community cohort where students take courses together. They have a specific advising faculty member and a peer advisor assigned to them. And we have recently just rolled out a brand new LEAP program called Global LEAP, where students will take courses on campus their fall semester here in Salt Lake, and then abroad at the Utah Asia campus in Incheon, South Korea, the spring semester. So pending COVID-19 travel restrictions, that could be an opportunity, probably the earliest opportunity that if you're coming in as a freshman, you could participate on a learning abroad program would be through Global LEAP. If you want more information about that, you can find it on the LEAP website, or I'm happy to answer any other questions about that if there are some. And then finally, our exchange programs. We, as I mentioned in the earlier session, we partner with roughly 35 international institutions that generally are very highly rated in their own countries. And so this is a student, Jose. He participated on a program in the University of the Americas Puebla in Mexico. He did a semester there. and he was able to get a pretty large amount of funding between our scholarships, departmental and external scholarships that basically covered the entire cost of his program. As I mentioned before, exchange programs, they're generally, a spring, a fall semester program or an academic or calendar year. It's like attending, a different university. You may be the only student from the University of Utah there, unlike with a faculty-led program where you're going to be with a group of students from the University of Utah. This can be a great opportunity for an immersive experience, especially if you're learning a language. Sometimes some of these universities do have language requirements and others do not. Exchanges are our most affordable program type because you are paying direct University of Utah tuition to us. So it would cost the same to attend these as it does to attend a semester on campus. So those are the main program types: faculty-led, our affiliates, our exchange, and the Utah Asia campus. I did want to touch on, before we get to some questions, a couple of upcoming events. The first one is that financial needs scholarship application that I was talking about. If you're planning or hoping to learn abroad anytime during the next calendar year, so that is in 2021, you can use this scholarship, but you have to apply for it by October 1st. Generally, our scholarship deadlines fall around the same deadlines as the programs themselves. So for summer programs, the majority of our scholarships, the application deadline is February 15th, similar to the application for the program. However, for this scholarship, because we want you to know ahead of time that you have this funding to rely on, the deadline is in October. So if you want to learn abroad in 2021, I highly recommend that you apply for this one, and you can apply through it on our website. The other piece, this fall, generally, we usually do in-person learning abroad fairs where we'll be in the Union building on campus, and we have all of our faculty members, our affiliate providers, exchange institutions, et cetera there, and it's a big gathering of people, but obviously we can't do that right now. And so we're going to be hosting a virtual learning abroad fair that will take place over a week in October. So between Monday, October 12th and Friday, October 16th, we'll have a bunch of different faculty directors presenting about their programs. We'll have our office staff giving scholarship workshops. We'll also have some other student staff talking about exchanges and things like that. So if you want more in-depth information after this would be a great place to start in the fall. So keep an eye out for that. So with that in mind, I wanted to open up the floor to any questions. And we can hop into the group chat, see if anyone has any questions, and if not, I can start with some of the questions that were provided ahead of time. So does anybody have any questions that they're burning to ask? Feel free to type them into the group chat. All right. So the first question that I have that was submitted ahead of time is, what opportunities are there for engineers wanting to learn abroad? This is a really good question. I mean, we get it a lot. We have seen a lot of interest from our various engineering programs about what kind of programs there are. There are a number of degrees on campus, engineering included, that have a very rigorous academic schedule. That is, you kind of have your entire academic career at the U planned out once you start, this fall. And so we've been working really closely with the engineering department to make sure that students are aware that there's kind of a specific time window for engineering students that you can learn abroad. And it tends to be end of sophomore year, beginning of junior year, though that can be slightly flexible depending on how long you're at the U and what exact credits you're going to be getting. Our most popular option currently for engineering students is the University of Sydney. There are a lot of great opportunities to take specific engineering courses there. So you could be, at the University of Sydney in Australia for a fall or spring semester and completing major credit courses that will then, be working towards your progress to graduate once you return. So that is an option, the University of Sydney. There's also an option at the University of Hong Kong Science and Technology and the Exchange Institution in Waikato, New Zealand, or at Waikato. So those are kind of the three that we direct engineering students to. And we also have in our office, like I said, a learning abroad coordinator who works specifically with engineering students, specifically with STEM students. And so he'll also be a great resource in connecting you with those programs. All right, here we go. Got a couple in the Zoom chat. First question is, if I take Learning Abroad 101 now, but decide not to go abroad this academic year, will I have to do it again when I do decide to go? If you complete it and go abroad on that Learning Abroad program within a year of completing it, you won't need to take it again. However, if you do take it and more than a year elapses before you apply and are accepted onto a Learning Abroad program, we will ask you to do it again, mainly because we update it, once or twice a year, depending on kind of information and what changes. And so it will kind of sunset after a year, and you will have to take it again if that much time does elapse. But it's just to make sure that you have the most up-to-date information. All right. To do Learning Abroad, is it required to take the Learning Abroad 101 class? Yes, it is. Every student who participates on a Learning Abroad program is required to take it. But again, class is kind of a strong word. I would say that it's more of a kind of brief information session, in that it'll be on your Canvas and you can go through it at your leisure, and it shouldn't take more than an hour. It's not for credit. It really just talks about the nuts and bolts of the application process and all the other kind of nitty-gritty pieces that we can't really cover in this short of amount of time. So it is required, but it will be really helpful in helping you better understand kind of how to plan and what you're looking at and stuff like that. Okay, another question from KJ. If I already have a full tuition scholarship at the U, does that help cover any costs for learning abroad? So all of the scholarships that I've been talking about, for the most part, are scholarships that are distributed by our office, and you'll see those on our website referred to as learning abroad scholarships, as Office for Global Engagement scholarships, OGE scholarships. All of those we distribute and can be applied to anyone. In your case, for a student who is coming in with some kind of a scholarship, a full tuition scholarship at the U, you'll have to talk to scholarships and financial aid to see if that scholarship is able to cover learning abroad. Generally speaking, we don't find too many issues between students who come in with a large amount of scholarship funding and be able to utilize those on a learning abroad program, though we're not technically allowed to advise on those specific scholarships because they're not through our office. And so we'll send you to the scholarships and financial aid office, and we're happy to help kind of with that conversation, but they're going to be the ones who can answer that question. Sometimes in the fine print, it can say, this can't be used outside of the United States or things like that, which is where we run into issues. But for the most part, we don't see too many issues here. All right, another question. These are great questions. Keep them coming. Can you learn abroad multiple times, or is it usually only once you learn abroad? You can definitely learn abroad multiple times. I'd say, generally speaking, students at the University of Utah go abroad their junior year. And so if that's the first time you're going abroad, there probably isn't a lot of time to go abroad a second time. But that said, we've had students who participate on, even up to 3 programs while they're here at the U. If you can do a fall break or spring break program and then a summer program, it could be pretty easy to do 2 different programs. So there's definitely no restriction on how many you can do. It probably just boils down to what you can fit into your own academic calendar, as well as, what kind of responsibilities you might have over the summer working and things like that, if you have that free time or not. So you can definitely learn abroad more than once, and I would highly encourage it. And then, can you learn abroad in any year that you were at the U, or does it have to be in the first couple of years? No, it can really be whenever. Like I said before about the Global Leap program, that might be the earliest opportunity that an incoming freshman could participate on a learning abroad program is through Global Leap, because usually the earliest you could learn abroad is the summer after your freshman year, mostly because that gives us time to see that you're kind of a responsible student, have a good GPA, those types of things. And so to apply earlier and go abroad sooner can be difficult, but that Global Leap program would allow you to do a learning abroad program at the Utah Asia campus in Incheon, South Korea, which would be awesome, especially as a freshman. And then you'd probably have more time to go abroad again after that. And then again, it also depends on your major, like I mentioned with engineering, or with pre-med, things like that, it may be that there's more of a specific time that you can learn abroad. And so you'll need to talk to your academic advisor as well as our coordinators to kind of iron that out. Let's see, are the intensive language learning programs more literary language learning or conversational language learning? Maybe Lucas, you could take a stab at this, at least for your program.
Yeah. So for the classes I took while I was there, I was just in one class through the University of Oviedo. And that was kind of like the class itself was like a little bit of a balance. So it was pretty long. It was about 4 hours a day. And usually for the first half of the day, we worked on, I was in the lowest level class, by the way. So I'm not really sure how the upper level classes operated. So since I was in a little bit of a lower level class, it was focused on conversational skills quite a bit, as well as more like literary skills and grammar, and the like. It was a balance, but I would say the majority of the progress I made with conversational skills, if that's really what you're looking for, I had plenty of opportunities to develop that outside of class as well. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Lucas. Yeah, and I'll say generally, learning abroad programs that are language immersion are they're definitely going to be focused on both of those things. As Lucas intimated, kind of the higher level ones might be where you get into more delving into a specific, literature in a specific language. But conversation is definitely going to be of focus for all of our intensive language programs, whether you're doing the Chinese intensive language, Japanese, German, French, Spanish, Italian. So that's a good question. Another question, what's the typical length of a language learning summer program? I would say they're typically a month to 2 months. Summer programs are generally, 4 to 6 weeks. Though we do have some programs that will go the entire summer. So it kind of depends on which program you choose. Like I said, we have a bunch of immersion programs that are faculty led. So it's University of Utah faculty members. You're going with a group of Utah students, direct Utah credit. However, we also have intensive language programs that you could go through that are affiliate programs that may be longer than the language programs that our faculty offer. So it kind of depends. All right, maybe time for one more question, and then we're going to restart this and have our same students talk again. That way, any students who want to hop over into the Office of Undergraduate Research or Hinckley or Career and Professional Development Office can do so. Does anyone have any other questions? Any burning last question? Otherwise, I'll throw one out here. One of the questions that we got was, when's the best time to learn abroad? And is there still time if you've already earned an associate's degree? Which is a really good question. I'd say first off, is there a best time to learn abroad? Typically, our students go abroad their junior year, but you can fit it in other summers, in other semesters, and it kind of is more specific to you and what you're studying. We would love to see students, participating on learning abroad programs before their junior year, but that's kind of historically when students have done it, so that is the case here. And then regarding your associates, if you're coming in as a transfer student or with a bunch of credits already, I think that what that really means is you're kind of on an accelerated timeline. It would be good for you to take a look kind of immediately once you start meeting with an academic coordinator, doing Learning Abroad 101 and talking to our office to make sure that you are able to fit that in. Because if you're only going to be here, if you're coming in with an associate's degree and you might only be here for 2 years, then you've got a shorter window, So it's definitely something you can start thinking about sooner, applying for scholarships sooner, those types of things. And it may be that planning for it is an accelerated timeline as well. All right. Are there any other questions? I'm going to put right now in the chat the links to the other breakout sessions. So we've got CPDC, the Career and Professional Development Office, Hinckley, who also offer global internships if you're interested, and then the Office of Undergraduate Research. So thank you all for attending, and feel free to email us at learningabroad.utah.edu. if you have any other questions. Thank you. All right, let's get started. Okay, thanks everyone for coming to our second breakout session. Hopefully you got all the information you were looking for at your first information session, and we can provide you with the rest of that information that you're looking for here. So we're going to go through and hear from a couple of our different student staff members who have all participated on learning abroad programs. They're going to kind of talk about their specific program, as well as kind of what that program type is, what the pros and cons are there, and then they'll go into more information about their program, kind of what they were thinking about when they were applying, things to consider, and then we will open it up for some questions at the end. So our first student is Lucas Lilly, and he participated on our intensive Spanish language and culture program in Oviedo, Spain. So Lucas, you're gonna take it away.
Hey guys, like Daniel said, my name is Lucas. I'm a senior this year here at the U. I'm majoring in Spanish teaching as well as history teaching. And learning abroad definitely affected my choice of major. I'll talk about a little bit about more of that in a second though. But yeah, like he was saying, I went on a faculty-led program to Spain, did the intensive Spanish language. So just to give you a better picture of what we're talking about when we say faculty-led. So for this type of program, it's when you gain U of U credit directly, and it's led directly by a member of the University of Utah faculty. So all the students in my classes, they were all U of U students as well. So yeah, one of the biggest perks is getting that U of U credit directly. You don't have to apply it for transfer credit or go through any of those processes. Another characteristic of this type of program is they usually tend to be a little shorter term. So that can be a pro, can be a con for some, depending on how long they want to be somewhere. But yeah, they usually run during summer break, fall break, spring break. But yeah, on to my personal experience with the faculty-led program. So I went to Oviedo, Spain, and I chose this specific faculty-led program because my number one goal was just to develop my Spanish language skills. It was just something that I was excited to do. And it aligned with my academic goals because at the time I was only majoring in history teaching, and this program took care of all of my gen eds for the language requirements. However, after spending time in Spain and with this program, I ended up liking Spanish so much, and it was such a great experience that I decided to start another major and do a double major with Spanish as well. So yeah, it really deeply impacted my academic trajectory. So for my program, I stayed with the host family, and this was really important for me developing my Spanish language skills because it really provided an immersive atmosphere. My host mom didn't speak any Spanish at all. So in order to communicate with her, I really was just kind of pushed to develop my Spanish skills as much as possible. In terms of the classes I took, these were taught by teachers at the University of Oviedo. And someone in the last session asked, what these classes were focused on. And for my level of classes, it was kind of a balance of conversational skills as well as literary skills. But I found that the majority of my conversational and my speaking skills in general actually developed more outside of class, which was really cool, just interacting with the townspeople in my host family, like I was saying. So the classwork was also paired with like Canvas work and classwork assigned by our U of U faculty leader, as well as some other in-country experiences. Another cool thing that I got to do during this program is we had excursions that we always went on during the weekends. So for example, we went to Picos de Europa, which was super beautiful. We were supposed to go rafting one weekend, just didn't work out because it was raining or something. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, and another example is we went to León and saw some amazing architecture. But yeah, overall, incredible experience. And I definitely achieved my goal of really pushing myself in my Spanish speaking skills. So I guess the only regret I would say I had was I wasn't there longer. I feel like I was just finally starting to make serious progress, and I wish I could have kept going. But yeah, that's all I got.
All right, thanks, Lucas. Okay, our next student is Myra Cardozo, and she is going to be presenting about her Kappa London Global Health Program.
So hi everyone, my name is Myra. So I am a peer advisor for the Learning Abroad office, and this is my last semester at the U. So I will be graduating after this fall semester, which is kind of exciting. So I did an affiliate program. So what an affiliate program is it is pretty much a partnership that the Learning Abroad office on campus has made with other Learning Abroad offices. And with that partnership, it allows students to participate with affiliate programs. So I did the Kappa London Global Health Program. So I am currently studying international studies. So I was really focused and happy to see a program that had all the courses and also the values that I wanted to get out of my learning abroad experiences. So one of the great things with the affiliate programs that I really appreciated was in the budget, it was all excursions were built in, and the excursions really reflected what the program focused on. So for example, mine was focused around global health, and the excursions that we did in London were going to the London medical schools. We also visited a lot of hospitals to see how their medical system works day to day and how it compares to ours. And I know from other friends that were doing affiliate programs while I was in London, those who were doing the writing and rhetoric, they would go and see the Shakespeare Museum. So I really appreciated that a lot of the excursions aligned with what program you were doing with the affiliate program. That was great. Another thing with the affiliate program is that it is open to all university and college students. So in my program, I was the only U of U student, which was really scary at the beginning, but I ended up really enjoying that because I was able to make friends with students from across the country and the nation, because a lot of students that were with me were from schools in the East Coast, and so I wouldn't have been able to meet them or build those friendships with them if I hadn't met them through the program. So I really liked that. And as well as the professors that I had in my program, we had all our classes at a student center in a study center, but the professors were professors that had lived in London and were from London and were teaching in other universities. So it was really great to gain that perspective from those professors, as well as make, again, a relationship with professors across the country that you could essentially use for professional development later. But yeah, I strongly suggest to look into affiliate programs because you can find that a lot of them can be tailored for the things that you're looking for, as well as there's a lot of extra funding with affiliate programs. So I was actually able to fund my learning abroad experience because I applied for scholarships through the affiliate programs, and that's how I was able to pay for it, which was great. So it just offers more opportunities for funding and resources, and yeah. I think that's all I have to say about it. I had a great experience, and really recommend you all to do your research about the different program types.
All right, thank you, Myra. So Myra has talked about our affiliate programs. Those affiliate providers also offer global internships if that's something you're interested in, and the Hinckley Institute does as well. We've heard from Lucas talking about his immersive Spanish program, which was a faculty-led. And now we're going to hear from Julia Friedrichsen about the Architecture, Design, and Planning in Tuscany program, which is also a faculty-led program here at the U.
Hi everyone, my name is Julia, and I am a fourth-year student in the College of Architecture. I studied abroad when I was a sophomore because that's predominantly who this program is aimed at. What's interesting about this program is it's inclusive to architecture, design, and planning students, not just a single one in the college, but all of them. There were about 13 students on my study abroad trip, and what's interesting about this program is that we took 15 credit hours just as though we were back in our home institution, and we stayed abroad for an entire semester. So this program is offered in the fall, which is pretty lengthy in terms of the faculty-led programs. It's the longest one we offer currently. Some of the courses we took were studio, which was taught by the faculty member that came with us. So we had that a couple times a week. We also took 2 other courses that were taught by U of U faculty members, and they came and visited for a week out of the semester. And then we took 2 other courses taught by a local of the area that was in partnership with the program. We lived in a villa that was 4 stories tall. And so we lived on the top floor, and then in the bottom half of the building, we had our studio and pinup center where we did all of our different classes. It was also neat. This trip, we got to go on a few different excursions. So we went to Venice and we saw the Architectural Biennale, which is a worldwide exhibition. We went to Siena and San Gimignano, which were 2 other hilltop areas. And then we visited Florence as well. So that was pretty cool. And all of these places were in relation to Volterra, which is where we were staying, about 11,000 people. They were all about an hour and a half to 2 hours away in any direction. So Volterra, while it was a pretty small hilltop village, it was really accessible to most of the Tuscany region. I got to do plenty of my own traveling while I was abroad. We only had classes Monday through Thursday, so that was really nice because we could take the whole weekend to go visit other places we wanted to see while we were in Europe for those 3 months. During my time, I visited London. I went to Paris and the Vatican City over fall break, and then I went to Switzerland for a weekend. So that was a whole bunch of fun. Similar to Myra talking about scholarships, for me, funding my learning abroad experience was a really, really great experience in itself because it was the cheapest tuition I had paid. Being an out-of-state student, that was a really big deal for me. I didn't know if I would get to go abroad because of cost, you know, but I ended up winning a student fee scholarship as well as a social media scholarship. So while I was abroad, I got to share all of my experiences that I was going through with the rest of the world and the people of the U of U campus back home.
All right, great. Thank you, Julia. Okay, so we've heard about faculty-led and affiliate programs. I'm going to talk really briefly about our 2 other program types, which we didn't have students here today to talk about. So the first one is our Utah Asia campus in Incheon, South Korea. So this is a fully operational kind of second campus for the University of Utah where Korean students are taking courses. And then we also have both students who can do learning abroad programs coming from the U there, or American students who kind of direct enroll at it as an institution. You can take, so there you'll be able to take U of U courses in English with local Korean students. You can complete general education requirements. And there is you can use the tuition reduction at the UAC. There are a number of major programs that you can take courses for while at the UAC: urban ecology, psychology, communication, film and media arts, and civil and environmental engineering. So if you are in any of those majors or programs, you would be able to go and get major related courses out of the way, over a semester at the Utah Asia campus. Another cool opportunity, especially for new students, is our Global LEAP program. So you've probably heard a little bit about LEAP, which is a first-year learning community program where students are kind of assigned a cohort, and they have a specific faculty advisor and peer advisor for their group. And we have a brand new LEAP program called Global LEAP, where students will take their first semester courses on campus and their second semester courses, so this would be next spring, they would take their courses at the Utah Asia campus. And so this is probably the easiest way to get abroad quickly at the University of Utah. So if you are interested in that type of a first year international experience, definitely go to the LEAP website and look up Global LEAP. There's more information there. Our other program type are exchanges. So I kind of mentioned this before. We partner with around 35 different universities around the world, some of which are the most prestigious and selective universities in their country. Tsinghua in China, for example, the University of Sydney, Seoul National in South Korea. These are institutions that can be hard for even natives of those countries to get into. And so it can be a great opportunity to get into a really, to do a semester or a year at a top-notch international university. Essentially, you're studying at a local university with local students and other international students in either English or a foreign language, depending. You can see this kind of the spectrum here on the side from individual to group. As Lucas and Julia mentioned, those faculty-led programs, you're with a group of University of Utah students. Maybe there are some students who are from a different school, but generally they're University of Utah students. And as you go up this scale, exchange is at the top. It's really the most kind of individualistic, independent option for students. So if you want like a really immersive experience, you might be the only student from the University of Utah or the student from the United States at an institution, depending on where you go. Our student here, Jose, he was a political science major and Spanish minor and attended the University of the Americas in Puebla, Mexico. So he was able to take Spanish immersion classes as well as poli-sci, and he was interested in Latin American politics, economics, and global security. And so that was kind of a no-brainer. And as I mentioned before, for exchanges, you pay the same tuition as you would to attend the University of Utah. The only difference being is the cost of a flight to get there. And so depending on where you go, you know, if it's a big city, London or Paris or Tokyo, those are expensive cities that probably have a higher cost of living than Salt Lake. But if you're going to a place that has a lower cost of living, it may be that's more expensive and more affordable than even staying here and doing a semester or a year on campus in Utah can be. So that's kind of an example of all those different programs. I do want to mention really quickly about some upcoming events that we have. The first one is our financial needs scholarship application. This is a scholarship that if you're awarded, you can use during the next calendar year, so 2021, anywhere from the spring all the way over to the beginning of the next academic year, that fall. But our deadline is early. The deadline for this is October 1st. That way, you know ahead of time that you have this money to rely on when you're applying for programs. So it's a good peace of mind. So if you are interested in learning abroad next year, whether that's next summer, next fall, or next spring, definitely apply for this application, for this scholarship. And then we also have a number of other scholarships that have deadlines that are more in line with our programs. So February 15th is our summer deadline for summer programs, as well as for any scholarships that would apply. This scholarship, the financial needs scholarship, is unique, and so you'd need to apply by October 1st. Another thing I wanted to announce is that usually we will do a fall in-person fair at the University of Utah Union Building, which is where our office is located. It's a big event where we have all of our faculty, our affiliate providers exchange, all of our staff there to answer questions about scholarships, all kinds of stuff. But given the COVID-19 restrictions and we're wanting to prioritize the safety of our students and our staff, we're not going to be holding an in-person event. Instead, it will be virtual and take place over the course of a week in October. So from Monday, October 12th to Friday, October 16th, we will have a number of different Zoom sessions where faculty members running programs will be presenting about their programs. We'll have scholarship workshops. We'll have some of our student staff talking about their experiences, things like that. So keep an eye out for information about that. If you follow us on social media, we'll definitely be announcing it there. So that can be a great place too to get more questions answered. Okay, so that's what we were going to go through. I want to open it up now to any questions that you all might have, that we haven't addressed. And I also have some questions that were submitted ahead of time. So if you guys want to write in the chat any questions that you have, I'm happy to answer them or see if some of our student staff want to answer them. So I'll leave it open. All right. So while you guys think up some questions, one of the first questions that I saw that was submitted ahead of time was, what opportunities are there for engineers wanting to learn abroad? This is a really good question, and we've had a lot of interest from engineering students, generally because engineering becomes a very international field once you've graduated. So it can be a great opportunity to have international experience in your portfolio ahead of time. And so there are definitely opportunities for engineering students. I recommend talking to your academic advisors as soon as possible once you're starting, because it can be kind of difficult to fit it into your academic schedule. There are a number of majors on campus, or things like pre-med, pre-nursing, that have some pretty specific requirements in terms of your academic schedule. It's essentially planned out for you when you start. And so it can be a little more difficult to fit a learning abroad program into those majors. But for engineering students, we've worked with the engineering department, and we've had a lot of success in sending students to a couple of exchange institutions where it tends to be easier to get that kind of credit that can apply towards your major. So the opportunities that we generally direct students towards are the University of Sydney. You could do a semester or a year at the University of Sydney, usually around the end of your sophomore, beginning of your junior year. So University of Sydney, University of Hong Kong Science and Technology is another one where we've had students go and successfully get credits, as well as University of Waikato in New Zealand. And then if you're more kind of on the EAE, the kind of gaming major here at the U, which is also, has some engineering with it. We have a lot of students who go to some of our exchange institutions in Japan and focus kind of on Japanese language and stuff like that. So those are some different options for engineering students. They're definitely there. So, ask your academic advisor about them. All right, so we've got a question here from Lucas Butterfield. Where can we learn more about the study abroad programs that are offered? So if you go to our website, let me share my screen. Okay, so if you go to our website, learningabroad.utah.edu, and you scroll down, this link to search and apply will send you to our program database. There's a program search here. The program search can be a little difficult to use, but I suggest using some of these search options, these different program types that we've talked about, or field of study, to narrow down kind of what you're searching for, or location, if you have a location you're interested in. But all of our programs, and there are hundreds of them, are available to be viewed here in our database. And so again, that's going to our website and clicking on the search and apply button. Good question. Are there any opportunities for computer science? So it's actually what I was just saying about engineering, because computer science, at least my understanding, falls under the School of Engineering. They're going to be similar options. But again, we have a learning abroad coordinator who is, works specifically with the College of Engineering. And they'll be, you can come in and meet with them once you've completed Learning Abroad 101, and they'll have more answers for you there. I advise the students from the College of Social Work, so I'm not super knowledgeable about all of the engineering programs, but there definitely are ones. And I know we've had students who are in the computer science degree go abroad and get credits towards their major. Good question. Anyone else? So the question is, do we have to be majoring in a certain field of study at the Utah Asia campus? The answer is no. There is a gen ed program, like learning abroad program, that we run, where students can go and take specifically courses that meet general education requirements there. Otherwise, the programs are generally focused around those majors that I listed. So if you are taking one of those majors, it can be a really good opportunity. And then also, you could participate on the general education program, and you wouldn't have to be in a certain field of study to do that. I believe there are also opportunities to take Korean language, although it's not offered by the University of Utah's Asia campus. It's offered by one of the other schools that's within the same kind of global campus that they are. So if Korean is something you wanted to focus on, you could get transfer credit for Korean. So that's also something that's available. Anyone else? Let's see, I'll pull up my list of questions. how is budgeting when you are living in a different country? Maybe I'll see what some of our student staff have to offer here. Myra, Lucas, or Julia, do you guys have any feedback on that question?
I guess I can try to
Thanks,
take a stab
Lucas.
at it. It was a while ago for me, but yeah, I definitely, like, the biggest thing I did take into account was like understanding I wasn't gonna really have the opportunity to work for those 6 weeks while I was abroad. So budgeting was really important for me. And I kind of was able to do it like uniquely because in Spain it was like a really cash based place. Um, so I was able to kind of create like a budget plan before like each week and everything, but like it would really kept me aware while like I was there because everything was done in cash. So like at the beginning of the week I would go to the ATM and take out like the exact amount of cash I needed based on like how I had budgeted. And so if I went over, like it was really obvious, like I couldn't just ignore that because it was like I had no more cash and like there was no place that really used card. So I guess that's kind of how my experience with budgeting was, but I don't know if someone else has something else.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with Lucas. You have to be aware of like how many times you're using the ATM because obviously you have to deal with fees. And so I know a group of us, like we would either someone would pull out money from the ATM, like one person would, and then we would Venmo each other or something like that. Or we would um, just try our best not to like use money when we didn't have to because we had like a meal plan included with our program. So it was like we would treat ourselves once a week to eating out because otherwise like the whole point of having the meal plan was seemingly void.
Yeah, that's definitely good feedback. I would say that when we're talking about different types of programs, it also has a lot to do kind of with costs and stuff like that. And so first off, for all of our programs, if you're on that database kind of that I was showing you all to search for, when you click on a program, there is a budget sheet attached to each one, which covers both kind of billable costs and non-billable costs. To not get too into the weeds, the billable costs are the ones which are the overall program costs. So when Julie is talking about a meal plan, some of the programs may have that as part of the overall cost. And it will just be displayed on that budget sheet. And then there's non-billable costs, which are things like your flight and stuff like that, which we don't purchase, which you would purchase separately once your program's getting confirmed and things like that. So, depending on your program type, it may be like for a faculty-led program, all of your housing and most of your food is covered. And so you're budgeting really more for the meals and the traveling and stuff you might do outside of the program. On the flip side, for an exchange program where it's really on you, it's up to you to find housing, to do things like that. Though there are services to help you with that, whether they're at that institution or here in our office, we're here to help you. But that allows you a lot more flexibility and control over your budget with a given program. Faculty-led programs or affiliate programs, they tend to have more things that are offered that are part of that overall program cost than something like an exchange where you're just paying tuition to attend that university and then everything else you do is really up to you budgeting. So there are differences as well, kind of in what that looks like, depending on the program. But I will also direct you to our scholarships page. I'll put it here in the link. This is definitely on there. We list all of our scholarships, external, departmental, as well as ours. And then there's some other resources. If you click on the more resources button, like the Financial Wellness Center on campus, they're really helpful. They have some kind of worksheets for budgeting and things like that. That can be a good resource as well. All right, are there any other questions? We're at the 3:30 into the session, so I'm happy to answer any more questions. And if not, thank you all so much for attending. I hope this was useful. And a big thanks to our student staff for sharing their experiences.